Have you ever stopped to think that sometimes the person we know the least is ourselves? It's funny how, in the middle of so much hustle, we end up overlooking what's happening inside. The truth is, the foundation of any personal growth, any true change, begins with a simple question. Who am I? It may seem cliché, but most people go years without ever really asking themselves this question. It's easy to fall into a routine, repeat the same behaviors, and even convince ourselves that life is just that. But the first step to transforming your life is precisely looking inward. If you want to evolve, achieve your dreams, and become a better version of yourself, you first need to truly know yourself. But how do you do that? How do you really get to know yourself? I'll guide you through a few steps that can change the way you see the world, and, more importantly, how you see yourself. Observe your thoughts and emotions. The first step to getting to know yourself better is to start paying attention to what you think and feel. Have you noticed that we spend much of our time on autopilot? We wake up, do what we have to do, sleep, and repeat. But in the midst of it all, there's a whole world inside our heads. Ignoring this is like walking around with your eyes closed. A simple way to change this is to stop for a few minutes every day and ask yourself, what am I feeling right now? What am I thinking? It may seem trivial, but this simple exercise will make you notice things about yourself you had never realized before. Maybe you'll discover that you have a lot of pent-up anger, or that you're overly worried about the future, or that you're carrying around anxieties that don't even make sense. The key here is not to judge what you feel or think. Just observe. The more you observe, the more you'll understand your patterns. And once you understand them, you can start to change. Know your values and principles. Another fundamental point is knowing what's important to you. And I'm not talking about what society says is important, or what your friends think. What do you truly value? What principles guide your life? Often, we get lost, demotivated, or feel like we're going in circles because we don't know our internal compass. For example, if you greatly value freedom but are stuck in a job that confines you, it's natural to feel frustrated all the time. Or, if it's essential for you to always be learning new things, but your routine is monotonous and repetitive, you'll feel stagnant. So stop and reflect. What really matters to me? What would I never give up on? Knowing how to answer these questions is like adjusting the GPS of your life. Without them, you risk living someone else's dreams, not your own. Identify your strengths and weaknesses. Now comes a point that requires courage, facing your qualities and, even harder, your flaws. Many people avoid this part, but the truth is that recognizing your strengths and weaknesses is one of the greatest acts of self-awareness. Ask yourself, what am I good at? What do I do effortlessly, without even realizing it? Believe it, everyone has unique talents, but sometimes we forget that. And even more important, what are my weaknesses? What do I need to improve? Identifying your limitations isn't a reason for discouragement, it's an opportunity for growth. Be honest with yourself. And if you have trouble, ask the opinion of those close to you. Often, outsiders can see things about us that we never imagined. When you acknowledge your strengths, you can use them to your advantage. And when you recognize your weaknesses, you have the chance to prepare and grow where needed. Understand your fears and insecurities. We don't like to admit it, but everyone has fears. Fear of failure, fear of judgment, fear of not being good enough. And it's precisely this fear that often prevents us from growing. Have you ever thought about what your deepest fears are? Identifying what scares you is crucial to understanding why you act the way you do. Sometimes, we sabotage our own happiness, avoid challenges, or even pretend everything is fine when, in fact, fear is hiding beneath the surface. There's no problem in being afraid. The problem is letting it control you. When you recognize your fears, they lose power. And, over time, you start to free yourself from them. The tip here is simple. The next time you feel fear, instead of running away or disguising it, stop and ask yourself, why am I afraid of this? What's the worst that could happen? Often, just thinking this way will make you realize that fear is much bigger in your head than in reality. Make peace with the past. To truly know yourself, you need to face your past. Many times, we carry hurts, guilt, and regrets that shape who we are today. And as long as those wounds don't heal, it will be hard to grow. Be honest with yourself about what hurt you in the past. What still bothers you? What haven't you been able to forgive, whether in others or yourself? Understanding the past is an important step to stop repeating the same mistakes and start building a better future. And here's a secret: forgiving isn't forgetting. It's about letting go of that burden. Only when you release the anchors of the past can you sail toward the future. Create time to be with yourself. Amid all the technology, social media, and commitments, we almost never stop to be alone with our own thoughts. But truly knowing yourself requires that you create time for it. You know that feeling of always being busy but not getting anywhere? It's because you're not stopping to think about who you are and what you really want. Set aside time every day to be silent. It could be meditating, walking, or simply reflecting. Without distractions. The more you connect with yourself, the more you'll understand your needs, desires, and dreams. And when you know who you are, you make more conscious decisions aligned with your true essence. Embrace the process of self-discovery. Finally, remember that getting to know yourself is a continuous process. There's no finish line, and that's great. Life is full of changes, and with each new phase, you'll discover new things about yourself. Sometimes, you'll be surprised, other times, you may be disappointed, but it's all part of the journey. Self-knowledge isn't about reaching an endpoint, but about enjoying the path. And the more you know yourself, the more prepared you are to deal with life's challenges. After all, when we understand who we really are, it becomes much easier to know where we're headed. So, the next time you ask yourself where to start your personal growth, remember, the first step is looking within. Because that's where all the answers lie. If you're committed to your personal development and want to keep evolving and leveling up, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Here, I always bring practical and powerful content to help you keep growing. And if this video helped you in any way, make sure to leave a like so that more people can be impacted as well. In the description, you'll find links to books that I've carefully selected, works that can completely transform the way you think and act. It's definitely worth checking out. And don't leave just yet. Take a look at the suggested videos here on the screen. They will help you even more on your personal development journey. See you there.